planning an all-inclusive vacation and not sure what you're getting into?
Stay tuned because we'll tell you the top 10 things that'll ruin any all-inclusive vacation and how to avoid them. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Max.
I'm Marin.
And we're Voyager Group. We post weekly videos with travel tips, hotel reviews, and videos from some of our favorite destinations around the world.
So if you don't already, consider subscribing.
And of course, if you like this video and you find the content useful, make sure to give us a thumbs up. It really helps our videos get more exposure and it helps us produce more. Now, before we get to our top 10, if you're one of the many viewers that are out there that's planning an all-inclusive vacation right now, let us know in the comments, where are you going? What are you looking forward to? And what are you excited about? Is this your first trip since COVID? Make sure to write it down in the comments below and we'll get right back to you.
And what have you experienced that's absolutely ruined your vacation? Let us know.
So now let's get into the top 10 things that'll ruin your all-inclusive vacation. Number 1, overlooking restaurant options.
Overlooking restaurant options can absolutely destroy any vacation, not even just an all-inclusive, but an all-inclusive in particular. If you're choosing a hotel that only offers a buffet, is that really what you want, particularly if you're there for more than a couple of days?
It can get really tricky with all-inclusives because oftentimes you think you're signing up for the entire package, but in reality, you're really only getting access to a select number of outlets. We've created an entire video specifically about all-inclusive meal plans so you can know exactly what you're getting into before you book.
And even if you're staying at a hotel that only offers an all-inclusive package, sometimes those hotels will only have buffets or maybe only offer an a la carte restaurant if you stay in a certain room type or if you're there for a certain number of days. And that's just not cool.
And that's just talking about all-inclusives that are always all-inclusive. That's not even getting into all-inclusives that have normal packages as well as all-inclusives. In our other video, we go in depth into meal plans on all-inclusives and everything you can expect.
Our number 1 recommendation here is to check the hotel's website and check TripAdvisor reviews. It's very likely that someone will have brought this up in the review forums or it'll be listed on their website.
And of course, as you look through photos on TripAdvisor, as you look through reviews, look for asterisks, look for anything that says there was an upcharge or anything extra. If there's ever anybody that's complaining about reservations, not being able to get into places, or having to eat at a buffet the entire time that they were on their all-inclusive vacation, those are the things you're gonna wanna watch out for. Our second thing that'll ruin your vacation is paying for 3-star service but expecting 5.
If you're paying 3-star prices, you can't possibly expect a hotel to go above and beyond with 5-star service. Hotels like LeBlanc, for example, offer incredible service at high prices, and it's for a reason. You can't expect bottle service in the room with full liters of Grey Goose at a hotel that only costs $100 a night. It's just not gonna happen.
There's an often misconception with all-inclusive that all all-inclusives are created equal. And if you go back 10 or 15 years, all-inclusives really weren't that desirable. But now a lot of things have changed. All-inclusives have become luxurious experiences. And there's a broad category within all-inclusives that range from 3 stars to 5 stars and everything in between. So when you look at your all-inclusive and you say, wow, that's such a great deal, step back for a second and think, what would the room rate be at that hotel on a normal night? And what are you paying for that addition of all-inclusive? And what are you actually expecting to get out of it? A great way to look at this is go back through TripAdvisor reviews, food photos, reviews from other bloggers like ourselves that have gone through and provided genuine reviews of hotels and see if you can decipher whether or not that all-inclusive is everything it's cracked up to be.
Now, it's not that you can't get a great deal. For example, if you have Hyatt points, you can score an insane deal on Hyatt Zilara Cap Cana and get that 5-star service. But those room rates often go for $600 plus per night. So if you can get a points deal at 25,000 points per night, that's insane.
And of course, if you watch our channel, you know we're already major Hyatt fans. In fact, we've put together a video linked up here in the corner of why Hyatt is one of our favorite programs and all the amazing ways that you can leverage their points and get status at Hyatt, even when you actually don't pay for that many stays. Another important way that you might get great deals on really nice hotels at an inexpensive price might be through wholesale. One of our favorites is Luxury Escapes, where you'll often find amazing discounts on incredible hotels, but you have to really hunt for those deals. You might also find some deals through other networks like Costco memberships. However, they are few and far between, so make sure that if you are hunting for a deal, you're starting far enough out and you've got notifications enabled across all your booking platforms to be able to jump on it when it's available.
At the end of the day, you just have to have the right expectations. If you're paying for a 3-star hotel, that's often what you're gonna get. If you're paying for a 5-star hotel, you best believe that's what you're gonna get, or complain.
Of course, the next thing that will ruin your all-inclusive vacation is if you don't hit the like button. Hit that like button right now, do it. The third thing that's sure to ruin your all-inclusive vacation is not knowing what activities are actually included.
So many people reach out to us asking us what activities are included in certain hotels, and honestly, if you're booking an all-inclusive plan, for the most part, non-motorized water sports are going to be included.
Now, there are exceptions to that rule. If you're one of those people that stays at a lot of sandals resorts, you'll know that activities like scuba diving are included, but that is far from the norm.
Most of the time, you're going to have to pay for jet skiing, you're going to have to pay for scuba diving, even sometimes you have to pay for paddleboards, kayaks, etc. Most all-inclusives, especially beach vacations, will include paddleboarding or kayaking or sailing for somewhere between 20 minutes to an hour once per day.
It is definitely something that you want to check into though, because if you are planning on doing a lot of activities during your vacation, the activities prices can often be something that crushes and ruins your vacation.
For example, Harrington in the Maldives is an incredible 5-star all-inclusive resort, but their activities prices definitely did not align with what the hotel was offering. Scuba diving for 4 or 5 times the price of a hotel anywhere else is just a bit ridiculous, so it's really important to keep in mind what the prices are before you go to the hotel.
In general, I'd say a good rule of thumb for this is look at the competition in the area. If you're going to somewhere like Cancun, the Dominican Republic, or Jamaica, where you're expecting to have a lot of activity and tour groups that are going to be able to have competitive prices, then you're more likely to have good prices on the resort through the all-inclusive and have a lot of things included. However, if you're going to a place that's more remote and your only option is going to be through that resort, oftentimes they take advantage of that and they really jack up the prices on those activities because that's really the only upsell that they have left if you're going for a fully all-inclusive stay. However, that's not to say that all remote resorts are like that, because we have stayed at some resorts like Lux in the Maldives where their diving was actually some of the most reasonable diving that we've ever done.
Our biggest recommendation is to check the hotel website. If you can download an activities brochure, it usually won't have pricing. If there are activities you're interested in, reach out to the hotel in advance and make sure they're in line with your budget.
And of course, if they don't get back to you and tell you what the actual prices are, that's a major red flag. But this rolls right into our next point. The thing that'll ruin your all-inclusive vacation is not budgeting for those extras that you want.
Let's be real, most people, like me, love the spa or similar activities, and you know those will cost extra. So it's really important to know what you're getting into, just like we were just talking about, particularly when it comes to those extras that you want. Our recommendation is to think about what you want to do before your vacation so you can make sure you can budget appropriately. For example, if you want a couples massage, make sure you account for that extra $200 to $400 depending on where you're going.
One of the great benefits of an all-inclusive is that you can pay in advance, often a year ahead of time. And so sometimes it actually gets to the stay, budgeting for those smaller things that you want to do, whether it be activities, spa treatments, or upgrading for that nicer bottle of wine at dinner, aren't usually that big a deal. However, if you are expecting that you've already paid for everything and that's the last thing that you're gonna have to pay for with a zero bill at checkout when you do get to certain hotels and realize that everything else is an upcharge, whether you want that lobster at dinner, whether you want a nicer bottle of wine, or whether you just want to go to a restaurant that isn't a buffet, that can often be a really unexpected thing that'll totally ruin your vacation.
And the good news is, these days, a lot of hotels cater to very specific travelers. For example, the Harringtons in the Maldives, while their activities prices were outrageous, their wine selection at the hotel was incredible and it was all inclusive. So it really just depends on what you're looking to do on your vacation.
Speaking of wine, that leads us into the sixth thing that will ruin your all-inclusive vacation. If alcohol isn't included, it's not all-inclusive.
That's just a fact. That's called full board. And you can check out the video that we mentioned earlier in the top right or in the description below that explains what all these meal plans are. However, like Max said, if alcohol is not included, it is not all-inclusive. There are so many hotels in the world that are all-inclusive that if a hotel's trying to sneak by without saying that they don't include alcohol in that all-inclusive package, it just simply is not true, and it's probably not worth your time.
One thing that you'll find is hotels that are often transitioning to an all-inclusive package where there's not a lot of other all-inclusive hotels to compete with will often try to get around some of the traditional all-inclusive rules in order to provide something that's kind of a mix between half board, full boardy, but not really all inclusive, but they'll call it all inclusive anyway.
And something to keep in mind with that is even if they do include alcohol and food, sometimes hotels will say they include them at meal times. So while you can go and get some nachos in the middle of the day, you might not be able to grab that glass of wine or that cocktail. So it's really important to read the fine print when you're looking at an all-inclusive plan in particular.
The seventh item on our list is kind of a big one and something that a lot of you will expect, and that's not expecting to tip at your all-inclusive to get better service.
While there are some very small exceptions to this rule, for the most part, you will always get better service if you tip. Now, if you watch some of our other videos, you'll know that Max and I purposely do not tip on the first day at least, to know what the full experience is like at a hotel. However, oftentimes we find that if we don't tip, we simply do not get service.
Yeah, because we're often staying on media stays and we're doing our best to evaluate hotels from a baseline, we purposely choose not to tip until it really becomes dire.
And there are a lot of people who go into an all-inclusive vacation expecting not to have to tip because you've already paid. But that's very often not the case. For the most part, hotel employees do not make that much money, and tipping culture has just simply become Americanized. So what you'll find in most hotels, if you slip $1 or $2, you'll get better service.
Now, one thing we will say about that is there are still regions across the world where tipping is certainly not expected. French Polynesia, Fiji, these are all examples of places where tipping is not part of the traditional culture. And oftentimes, at a lot of the hotels, it really truly isn't expected. However, one good rule of thumb is if you're staying at an American brand, tipping will then be expected. Americans travel, they're very familiar with certain brands, they're gonna go repetitively to those brands over and over, and inevitably, they're used to tipping. In most cases, us Americans have ruined that for all of you that we're hoping to get through your all-inclusive vacation without having to dish out tips from one person to another.
There are some brands that don't allow tipping, like Sandals, for example, says they do not allow tipping, except for the butler service at the end of your stay. And there are certain cultures, like in Asia, for example, where tipping is almost considered offensive in some places. But our best recommendation is to check the hotel on TripAdvisor, literally search the word tip or tipping, and you'll see what that culture is at that hotel.
You can also go check out our destination pages where we've broken down by region our best advice for each destination that you go to, and of course the individual hotel reviews that we've done, where we go in depth on every hotel through our 7-category rating system. Number 8 is something that you're starting to hear a lot about from a lot of different hotels, and that's butler service. And oftentimes, these hotels set the wrong expectations. So it's important when you go in to know exactly what you're getting from your butler service.
If you're looking at hotels in Punta Cana, in Mexico, and all over the Caribbean, you'll hear the word butler thrown around quite a lot. And kind of in line with the earlier concept of pay for 3 stars, expect 5, it's kind of the same idea. Hotels like LeBlanc, for example, hire professional butlers that will legitimately unpack your luggage and space all your clothes with 2 inches in between, and they do an exceptional job, and they really are a true butler. But for the most part, if you're booking an all-inclusive, be prepared to be disappointed if that's what your expectation is, because at most hotels, a butler is more like a glorified concierge, and that's in the best case scenario.
Butler services can range widely. If you've stayed at a St. Regis hotel, you'll know that the butler service is one of the major perks of staying in a St. Regis. However, there are certain hotels and all-inclusives that have started to just take on the word butler and basically apply it to anything. And oftentimes that service can be sorely disappointing because the hotel next door really does offer a butler service. If you look at some of our destinations like the Dominican Republic, that's one of the things that we've talked about a lot, is how widely it ranges between hotel to hotel what butler service really means. So it's something that you always want to check. If you want to learn more about butler service and how to understand what the best butler service is and what you should expect from butler service, be sure to check out our video that we've linked in the top corner.
Our best recommendation when it comes to butler service is to remember that they are more likely to be a private concierge than they are to be a true butler. I would not base my decisions on a hotel based on the butler service alone unless it has a true reputation of having a real butler service. There are many other reasons to book a hotel other than the butler service, so just keep that in mind.
Number 9 is assuming all-inclusives include transfers.
This is true of any all-inclusive all over the world, and it can really mess up your vacation depending on where you are. For example, in Punta Cana, getting from the airport to your hotel could cost anywhere from $20 to $100. In the Maldives, for example, an all-inclusive hotel could cost you anywhere from $500 to $1,000. So it's really important to remember that 99% of the all-inclusives will not include transfers.
Oftentimes when we talk about transfers, we're talking about a taxi here or a shuttle bus there. Nothing too complicated. However, if you start going to more remote destinations like the Maldives, Fiji, French Polynesia, or the Seychelles, transfers become a major line item when you're looking at your budget. And some all-inclusive hotels do include those transfers, and oftentimes it can be a huge difference when you're looking at one hotel versus another, because like Marin said, it can often be well over $1,000, and if you're talking about a family of 4, that's a huge part of your budget.
Our recommendation is to make sure you check the hotel website for any offers or deals that they have, or check some of the sites that Max mentioned earlier, like Luxury Escapes or Costco. Those wholesalers will often include transfers in that all-inclusive package, which can really help you upgrade from one hotel hotel to another, even if that hotel is more expensive, the transfers can really even out that cost.
If you happen to be booking a trip to the Maldives, you can go check out our top 10 things to know before you book in the Maldives, where we talk a lot about transfers and tell you the things you actually really need to know before you book. Our 10th and final thing that is sure to ruin your all-inclusive vacation is booking the wrong all-inclusive for your needs.
There are so many hotels now that offer all-inclusive packages or are fully all-inclusive. Times have really changed. So when you're looking at a hotel, really think about what you're looking for, what your budget is, and what your needs are. For example, if you're traveling as a couple, a family-friendly hotel with a water park is probably not the right decision for you, even if you're saving $30 a night at that hotel.
Unless you're a young couple and you're really looking to go down that water slide, that can often be pretty fun. But Marin's right, all-inclusives can vary so much in terms of who they're targeting. If you go to the website and there's a bunch of photos of families and you're looking to have a couple's trip, it's probably not the place for you. And vice versa. If you're looking to take your family somewhere and you go to the website, there's a bunch of romantic photos of hearts on the beach and romantic couples kissing, it's probably not the best place to take your kids because a lot of the activities aren't going to be centered or focused around them, and ultimately you're not going to get that free time that you were hoping for in the first place. Now, there are some hotels that do strike a happy medium, like the Ziva Zalara combinations that Hyatt offer. One side is adults only and the other is family friendly, and can often create a really nice experience for both.
But what you want to be careful with there is some of the hotels that offer a adults only inside of the family friendly hotel, that can get a little bit tricky depending on what you're looking for, because you'll never have that personal space away from the families at dinner with their kids.
And looking at you moms and dads out there, if you are taking a trip without the kids, steer clear of the same all-inclusives that you would go with your kids. Go somewhere all-inclusive that does focus on adults only, because the experience is really tailored to you and it does make all the difference when it comes to giving you the most luxurious experience possible.
And it's not just about families or couples or friend groups. It can even be down to your taste in wine, for example. Some all-inclusives cater to wine snobs like me. If you don't want to add on the cost of a bottle every time you want to order a glass of wine, be sure to check TripAdvisor reviews and the hotel for what types of wine they have on offer. And that's the same thing for anything. If you like going to shows, if you like having a quiet romantic place, if you like having a private bungalow or private beach dinners, hotels will cater that to you. You just have to find the right one.
The last thing we'll say in this tip is that the destination also matters. If you're going to the Maldives, you're going to get something very different than if you're going to Cancun or the Dominican Republic. Certainly know whenever you're in a location that you have to take a transfer to, or that is remote or secluded, you also don't have access to a town. You don't have access to go out to nightlife. You don't have access to go to different bars, try out competing activity programs, or dive with who you want to. A lot of that stuff can be very restricted. So if that's important to you, if you want to go into town, if you want to meet locals, if you want to experience the nightlife, look around, look whether or not that hotel is even going to offer that just based on their location.
At the end of the day, the most important thing is that you do your research. And I'm sure there are some of you watching this video who have had terrible experiences all-inclusive. We really want to know about that.
Let us know in the comments. Tell us if you're booking an all-inclusive vacation, or if you booked one in the past and came up with one of those sneaky surprises that you didn't quite expect. Tell us what you learned. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. If you're looking at booking an all-inclusive vacation, make sure to check out all of the reviews that we've done on all-inclusive hotels, where you can check out our all-inclusive playlist, which we've linked on the end screen. And of course, go check out our Instagram, where we have story highlights of every one of our stays and are constantly updating as we go and stay at new hotels. You can see our live experience and check out our destination pages on our website, where we have full written versions for all of our content, including this video. If some of you prefer to read rather than watching a video.
And if you agree with what we said, be sure to like this video.
And of course, if you didn't find this content useful and you think it was a bad video, just go ahead and hit that dislike button twice. As always, I'm Max.
I'm Marin.
And we're Voyager.
See you out there.
It's hot in this room. We are under a lot of lights.
Be sure to let us know what you thought of our studio.
Yeah,
on that note.
This is new. We got lights. Turn off the AC to give better audio. How's the audio? Is the audio all right?
Good. We're also hiring for a palm frond fanner.
Yes. If you would like to volunteer to be our palm frond fanner.
It's unpaid.
It's unpaid. Does it count as hiring if you're not paying somebody?
Internship?
It's an internship. Yeah. If you want to intern and pay for things yourself, we're hiring for that. We supply the palm fronds.
Oh, we can do that.
Yeah, but you have to bring your own grapes. For real. Click on our faces. You can subscribe. Not like these faces. There's
this one.
There's like a photo.
Right in the middle here somewhere.
Yeah, over there.